Assalamualaikum. Today we will talk about the muscle attachment, nerve supply and ossification of the humerus. Okay, then we will talk about the attachments of the humerus. Anatomical neck. This is the anatomical neck. The anatomical neck gives attachment to the capsular ligament of the shoulder joint except at the intertubercular sulcus where the long tendon of the biceps emerges. Then the greater and lesser tubercles. The three facets of greater tubercle, here the three facets, one leg facet, two facet and three facet. The three facets of greater tubercle give insertion to the following muscles which arise from the scapula. This is the supraspinatus. Here we will insert the supraspinatus is inserted to the superior facet. Then infraspinatus is inserted into the medial facet, and the teres minor is inserted to the inferior facet. Okay. Then the lesser tubercle. The lesser tubercle is inserted to a prominent facet on the summit of the lesser tubercle. Then the transverse ligament of the shoulder joint is attached to the lateral margin of the lesser tubercle. Here the transverse ligament of the shoulder joint is attached. Okay. Biceps brachial. Then the surgical neck. Surgical neck. Relations of surgical neck. Here we will find here the axillary nerve. The axillary nerve and the posterior circumflex humeral artery passes immediately posterior to the surgical neck. Here, the clinical anatomy. Surgical neck fractures because the surgical neck is bigger than more proximal region of the bone. It is one of the commonest sites where the humerus can be fractured. The associated nerve and the artery can be damaged by fractures in surgical neck of the humerus. In the relations of radial group, the radial nerve here, the radial group, the radial nerve and the profunda brachii artery lie in this group. Then the medial border. This is the medial border. Medial border. The medial border, the intermuscular septa are attached to the middle and lateral borders. Intermuscular septa are attached to the middle and lateral borders. Coracobrachioles is inserted to the Raffen strip just below the midpoint of the medial border. Here coracobrachioles is inserted to the Raffen strip just below the midpoint, just below the midpoint of the medial border. Then anterolateral surface. The anterolateral surface and the following two muscles are attached to the anterolateral surface. One is deltoid and other is the brachialis muscle. The deltoid muscle is inserted to the deltoid tuberosity. Here, this is the deltoid tuberosity. The deltoid muscle is inserted to the deltoid tuberosity. Brachialis arises from the area of anterolateral surface below the deltoid tuberosity. Here, deltoid muscle and brachialis muscle arises from the area of anterolateral surface below the deltoid tuberosity. The upper half of the anterolateral surface, the upper half of the anterolateral surface is covered by deltoid muscle. Anteromedial surface. Okay, anteromedial surface gives rise to the brachialis or middle fibers of the brachialis muscle arises from the lower half of the anteromedial surface. Here, the brachialis muscle arises from the lower half of the anteromedial surface. So, the origin of brachialis takes place from both the anterolateral and anteromedial surface. Then the nutrient foramen. The nutrient foramen, it is transversed by the nutrient artery, which is derived from brachial or profunda brachii artery. It is directed towards the elbow, hence the upper end is the growing end of the humerus. So, the pointer teres muscle here pointer teres muscle, and here the common flexor tendon. Pointer teres muscle, humeral head, and the common flexor tendon is consist of the flexocarpi radialis, palmaris longus, flexocarpi ulnaris, and flexor digitorum. Ulnar collateral ligament of the elbow joint is attached to the apex of the middle epicondyle. And the middle intermuscular septum here, the middle intermuscular septum is attached to the middle supracondylar ridge. Relation of the middle epicondyle, the ulnar nerve passes from the arm into the forearm around the posterior surface. Here, ulnar nerve, will come. The ulnar nerve passes from the arm into the forearm around the posterior surface of the middle epicondyle. The ulnar nerve can be palpated against the bone in this location. Then the lateral epicondyle. Here the lateral epicondyle, attachments of the muscles to the lateral epicondyle, common origin to superficial group of extensor muscles of forearm have a common origin to the anterolateral impression. This is anterolateral impression of the lateral epicondyle. Superficial extensors of forearm, extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis, extensor digitorum, extensor digiti minimi, extensor carpi ulnaris. Then anconeus arises from the posterior surface of the lateral epicondyle. So the common extensor muscles here, the common extensor muscles will attach here. The common extensor tendons. What tendons are extensor carpi radialis brevis, extensor digitorum with extensor digiti minimi, and extensor carpi ulnaris muscle with here, and the extensor carpi radialis longus muscle will attach here. Okay. Then in the upper, the brachioradialis muscle, they here attach here, and the brachioradialis muscle here attach here, then the brachialis muscle here attach here. In the supracondylar ridge, brachioradialis muscles access from its upper 2/3, extensor carpi radialis longus access from the lower third. Upper 2/3 brachioradialis muscles arises in upper 2/3, and extensor carpi radialis longus arises from the lower third. Lateral intermuscular septum is attached to its lower part behind the muscular attachment. Attachment of ligament, radial collateral ligament of the elbow is attached to the tip of the lateral epicondyle. All the fossa are intercapsular and lined by synovial membrane. Then the capsular ligament in front of the upper margin of the cornea and radial fossa, behind to the upper margin of the olecranon fossa, and laterally to the borders of the trochlea and capitulum, and middle to the middle aspect of the trochlear ring and the root of the middle epicondyle. Then nerves relation to the humerus. Axillary nerve is the posterior aspect of the surgical neck of the humerus. Here, the axillary nerve in the posterior aspect of the surgical neck of the humerus, radial nerve in the spiral radial groove. Here, radial nerve in the spiral groove in the middle of the posterior surface of the shaft, and the ulnar nerve behind the middle epicondyle. The ulnar nerve behind the middle epicondyle. So here the axillary nerve then here the radial nerve, and here the ulnar nerve. The ossification. The ossification, the primary center for the shaft. The primary center for the shaft of the humerus appears about week 8 of intrauterine life. Secondary centers, 7 secondary centers for upper end, 3 secondary centers for the hair. For the head appears about first year after birth. For the greater tubercle during the first or second year, or for the lesser tubercle during the fourth or fifth year. For the distal or lower end, 4. So, secondary centers total 7 secondary centers. 3 proximal centers, 3 proximal for the upper end, or 4 for the distal end. Okay, so total 7 secondary centers. For the distal end, for the capitulum during first year, and for the trochlea, for the capitulum during the first year, and for the trochlea during the 9th or 10th year. For the middle epicondyle during 4th or 6th year, and for the lateral epicondyle during 12th year. The centers for the proximal end, the centers for the proximal end, head and tubercles fuse together to form one large epiphysis during 6th year. It fuses with the shaft or diaphysis between the 18th or 20th years. The centers for the distal end fuse together during the 4th to 14th year to form the second epiphysis, which fuses with the shaft between the 14th or 16th years. The epiphysis for the middle epicondyle develops separately and fuses with the shaft at about 20th year. Here, some points about the clinical anatomy of humerus. Fracture of the humerus is common at the common sites of the fracture of the surgical neck, the shaft, and the supracondylar ridge. The supracondylar fracture is common in young age due to fall of the outstretched hand. The nerves related to the humerus are vulnerable. Fractures at the surgical neck may damage the axillary nerve, at the shaft may damage the radial nerve, and at the middle epicondyle may damage the ulnar nerve. Fracture at the junction of the upper and middle thirds show delayed union or non-union due to poor blood supply to this area. Dislocation of the head of the humerus commonly occurs inferiorly, since the fusion of the upper epiphysis takes place later than that of the lower epiphysis. The upper end of the humerus forms the growing end. In ampulation of the arm of a young individual, sufficient amount of soft tissue should be left distal to the site of ampulation and sutured. Otherwise, the progressive growth of the humerus through the soft tissue might produce a painful chronic stump. Thank you.